Rashid is running towards the camera as we speak.
Yeah,
Here he comes now, the star of the show.
Oh no, it's good to see you, Tessa Stuart, author of Flying Off the Shelves and Pack, the Food Entrepreneur's Guide.
Yes.
So you help people when they're on this exciting but challenging journey to set their own business that's food related.
I do.
How did you get into that?
Well, I think there was a sudden increase in the number of funky food brands about the time that innocent drinks started, and then suddenly it became so fashionable.
Right.
Everybody got much more interested in what they were eating and drinking.
Yes.
That meant there was scope for people to bake bread from home, to make cakes and sell them on a market stall. And suddenly I think there was just a huge explosion of people thinking, well, I can turn a hobby into a business.
But what had your background been? So had you been in marketing, had you been in the food business prior?
I had been in market research, so I'd been working for people like Nestle and Cadbury.
Right. Oh, big
projects.
Yeah.
So I had spent time with women talking about how much of the milk tray man should be seen as he delivered the chocolates through the window at night time.
No, you're aging us, but only that we've seen the repeated adverts, isn't it? But fascinating stuff. So you're on that market research side of what do people want, what
what
really
do people
works.
want from products, and a lot of stuff around branding and image, because of course chocolate, milk tray man, that's all about romance.
Yes.
And I just got fascinated by it, but I wanted to work with some of these funky new brands that were starting up, like Innocent Drinks, so I stalked them for 2 years.
Yes. And did you end up working with them?
I did end up working for them. I offered them my children.
Wow.
And they said, no, we don't need your children. We've got plenty of children. We're testing our kids' drink. And I said, well, do you want help with the children when you're testing the kids' drink?
Yes.
And they said, no, we're fine, we can do it. And then they came back to me and they went, you know what, we think we need a bit of help. Can we send you a research brief?
Right.
And it all went from there. And once I'd worked with Innocent, then the doors were open to work with lots of other brands.
Well, we're here at the British Library, and I know you've done sessions, talks and so on, and we just the other week we're doing a speed mentoring session for people who are going into this field. You would have thought, and particularly with some big brands and so on, that if you've got the right product and if it's got an attractive enough package, that's it. But I guess that there's so much more to it. What's the challenge for when all of these people who now do decide that they want to set their own business, what are those challenges of actually making it happen? Because perhaps they've got a product that they've made and friends like and it tastes good, but then they've got a whole journey in front of them. What are those challenges that they're going to face?
Their challenges, I think, are being both a maker and getting it out there.
Right.
And it helps if you're outgoing, so you can do a market stall and you can get your products out there and you've got a bit of chat. I observe that people who are perhaps a little bit more introverted can find it harder to do. So I think you've got to prepare to be a huckster and actually sell your very, very good product.
Go out there and tell people, friends, everybody's local, here's what I do. Yeah.
Social media, I think, is now everybody's friend. So actually, even if you are introverted, you can still do beautiful pictures on Instagram. You can have a link to your online shop, and you can do very well. So I think actually now has never been a better time to have a go at it. But some of the problems are making enough product if you're an artisan, and particularly I see people really struggling around this time of year to get enough product out there for the peaks and troughs. So then the question is, do you outsource? Do you find someone else who can make it for you? If you then do that, you're going into manufacturing and you need big runs. Otherwise the factory's not going to be interested. So then it's that question of, do you want to scale or is it a lifestyle business? And I know many, many happy people who've made it into a lifestyle business. But it's still bloody hard work. There's people think it's an easy thing to do. If you want to get it on the shelves in a supermarket, you're up against a lot of people. You've got to have the right price point, that the store can make some money on you, that you can pay a distributor to get it into the stores, that you can then do some marketing and promotions. And I think all of those things often come as a surprise to artisan producers who then want to move into supermarkets.
Got you. I mean, what you're saying there is powerful. I wonder, could we, and in the little bit of time we've got, I wonder if it might be worth us briefly exploring both of those scenarios. For the person who decides, yes, actually it's a lifestyle business, I want to make this in fairly small quantities that I can manage. I don't want to go down that other route for whatever reason. What are your tips and things for them to watch out for if that's the scenario that they go down?
Pricing the product and making it the right size. So people often start off and they're incredibly generous and they want to give the customer loads and loads of Christmas pud or snack bar or beautiful cake. But actually I think talking to women as I do about health now, people want small indulgences. That allows you to charge a price that makes it viable for you.
Right.
Otherwise
Because
you're a busy fool. You end up being a busy fool.
Right, because you've got to make sure that you can create enough that you're going to make enough money, on and price it. So it's that reality.
It's that reality.
Right.
And really the best thing to do is get a market stall, get away from your friends and family.
Yes.
Go out there and test it in the cold commercial world.
Wow.
If you can get some traction there, you'll also get loads of feedback. So you could do a pop-up shop with somebody, maybe in your local deli or whatever, but you want to get that feedback and then start refining the product and find out, well, is it too big? Have I used ingredients that are a bit far out for people? Do they understand what to do with it? One of the major problems I see is you get a lot of people making their favourite family chutney or whatever it might be, but that chutney, when it's bought, it will sit in a cupboard unless you can tell the person who bought it how to use it. So it's not just making the initial sale, it's getting the product used and then bought again.
Just before we talk about the other scenario, Tessa, one thing that catches my eye is just how beautiful and how eye-catching these books are.
As is yours, as a sole
trader. Thank you very much. But I guess then that you're making a point there that these products, due to that challenge and so on, they're going to have to stand, they're going to have to look strong. So anything you want to just briefly say about that whole package, that packaging and that design element of it, especially if that's not been somebody's strength?
Find someone who can do it for you and invest the money, because I see lots of people, you can probably get away with it on a market stall because you're there, you can do the chat, you can explain the product, you can have a simple brown paper package and a stick-on label. But once you get into a deli, you're going to be up against proper brands who spent money on marketing and you're going to look a little bit amateur. And the other thing is you just need to dial it up so that the branding makes you look super confident, like you're a product that's been around for a long time and you're very established.
I really like that advice. The person who decides I do want to scale it, or that the reaction to the product is such that people are wanting that and you suddenly realise you've got to scale, I guess that can be daunting in all sorts of ways. But could you just give us a few pointers for where people, that's the journey that they're on, and it's where lots of people struggle, or they might wrestle with for a long period of time because they're trying to still make it themselves, but they realise the demand's coming in and so on. Just a few thoughts and tips there.
There is a brilliant closed group on Facebook called The Food Hub,
right.
which if you're on this journey you should join anyway. You just go and ask to join. You can ask people there for manufacturing help, so you can say, where do I get my sauces made commercially? Right. And people will respond, and you can also search. There's a huge amount of advice in there. It's entirely free. This incredibly supportive food community. You'll get to know people. So that's the first thing I would suggest, absolutely free. The second thing I think is I would say buy these, because brands from all different sizes, food brands, have found them useful. Even people who are in the supermarkets have said, oh my God. And they're on Amazon, and I made them to stop people making expensive mistakes and to allow them to have a checklist, some understanding of what these journeys involve, and the pros and cons.
Oh well, I'm going to have to get a couple of copies of this for a friend of mine who doesn't have a food, but they produce a kind of a natural product, and I'd imagine that lots of those things, that the tips and the advice would absolutely apply when you're making other stuff, isn't it?
Well, I have had people who've bought them who've not been in that field, but said the general advice has still been very helpful. But I wouldn't want to mislead people. These are very food focused.
Yeah. So any last? I mean, what to tell us? What's the work that you, just to wrap up by talking a little bit about yourself, so what's the work that you do now, and if people are looking to find you, do you do consultancy? Do people still hire you to work on particular projects? Tell us a bit about what you do.
So this year I've been working with Oaxaca. I've been working, I've been going to the supermarket for Oaxaca, who've launched new products into Tesco, and finding out what consumers understand by them, what else we could do in the branding to make them stand out, because they're up against old El Paso, that's quite hard. So I'll work with challenger brands. I've just worked with a healthy ice cream who've launched into Sainsbury's, so I again went in and found some customer feedback from them that they can take back to the Sainsbury's bar and they can use to refine their branding. Maybe tweak it a bit, what's the balance between healthy and indulgent on the ice cream packaging, what do we need to say? So I will go in and do 50 interviews with shoppers, video some of those conversations, take that back, so they can take it to their designers, and they can also understand internally, okay, so that's our customer, that's who we're aiming at.
You know what you're saying is so powerful, because isn't it interesting? That's what it ultimately boils down to. The thing that took me many years to, even though I understood it technically or logically as a business coach, it's all about your customer. If you really do listen to them, if you really do talk to them, if you really do find out, they'll tell you absolutely everything. And isn't it everything? You need, and I guess that's why you have that market research. What do you call it? The blind shop. You know, the mystery shoppers and all that. All of that stuff. So I guess the key thing is,
get out and talk to your customers. Right. And I do an hour's consulting. So if you've got you're agonising about your branding reach, should we go for healthy, should we go for indulgent? You can buy an hour with me, and with my customer hat on, I can review your branding. You send it to me, and we have a chat on the phone, and we meet in person.
Wonderful. And if people are trying to find you, what's the best way to find you?
You'll find me on Twitter, Tessa_Stuart.
Excellent. And is there a website?
There is, tessastuart.co.uk.
Oh, fantastic. I like the power of the personal brand. Tessa, thank you so much for coming along here.
Thank you.
And we'll have to get you, because I'm just about to have my sole trader, so we'll have to invite you back. It would be wonderful you being here in the room and just sharing some of that magic. And thank you so much for those wonderful tips.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day and see you soon. I'm going to leave you to, you know the score because you watch these videos, to smile at the camera whilst I turn the camera off. Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Woo. And by the way, these are on Amazon, which I forgot to say, Amazon and Kindle.
Wonderful, thank you.